Jennifer. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's so nice to meet you. I
Nice
love
to
the
meet
name Tatiana.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to meet you too. I loved all of these shorts. I know it's been going on since 2016, but like this is only the second time we're getting to see it. So with such easy access on Disney Plus, which is such a great idea, in my opinion. And I was just wondering, can you tell me a little bit about the process of whittling down the ideas in order to choose which are the best candidates?
Yeah, no, it's a really unique process for our studio. So I'm so glad it exists, where we have a time period where we have open submissions, and it can be anybody in Walt Disney Animation Studios. It doesn't matter what position you hold, from every single department, and the whole studio can submit an idea. And the idea behind it is that there's an open period of time in which I can actually work with people on their pitches, because at the end of that time period, they submit to a selection committee. The selection committee has no idea who submits the idea. It's a completely blind selection. So we get a whole slew of submissions, knowing that likely we'll pick two from that grouping. And the selection committee is comprised of current filmmakers, feature filmmakers, plus development, plus visual effects supervisors, technical advisors, people from all over the studio come together, read the submissions, look at some of the visuals that they bring to the table, and then they get to choose who gets to be the next short circuit directors.
That's awesome. I love the idea of the blind audition process, if you will. I think it's really cool. I know experimentation is the name of the game, but I also felt like there were some really nice thematic similarities, like running throughout this particular group. What would you say? Were there any themes that stood out to you when you guys were going through this collaboration process?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's so interesting because Short Circuit is a program in which revolves around the time that the directors have outside their normal day jobs. So sometimes they can get selected and within, a few months start and then just go until they're finished with their short and then go back. But sometimes they take place over years at a time. So what's really fascinating about this grouping is you have people who got selected multiple years ago, and then people who made their shorts just last year. So it's very coincidental in their thematics, because the selection committee itself was different each time that those shorts were selected. So what I think is fascinating is that first-time directors often have such personal themes in which they infuse into their work. Not that every director doesn't, but first-time directors in particular want to show and tell what they know and what they've experienced in their lives. And I think that really shines through in Short Circuit in kind of a really lovely way. And so that's probably a little bit of what we sense as similarities.
Definitely. I love that. Now, I loved every single sure, but there were a couple where I was like, I feel like this could keep going. So like, for example, Dinosaur Barbarian, right? Like, it's just such a perfect theme song intro to a show I want to watch. Like, does he impress the princess? Does he realize that the real impression was inside him all along, etc.? So are there ever pitches or even completed shorts that you guys are like, how can we, expand on this, or ever be inspired by it for something else at Disney?
Yeah, you know what? I think you're not alone. Dinosaur Barbarian is such like a tease almost. And I love how you're digging into the psyche of a barbarian. So that's awesome of you. I appreciate that very much. I think that these are looked at as individual shorts that are really pushing envelopes in a lot of ways, which I think is excellent. I think they have a lot of influence to other people in the studio for sure. I'd say a really nice example of maybe what you're talking about as well is, so Natalie Nuriga in the first season made Exchange Student, and then later on, made a film called Far from the Tree, which premiered, this past year as well. And so those obviously were influenced by each other in stylistic wise, that she took those applications that she learned in her short and then brought them to a different project later. So I could see that working in all kinds of ways with Short Circuit. And I agree, this particular season is painful in ways because they're like, wait, there's more to this. There's more story here. There's more to tell. How do we get this made? And, anything can happen. Anything can pop into development eventually or be looked at as potential new talent as well. So I can't promise anything, but I think that it is very much exposed to everyone at the studio, which is a really great thing.
Wonderful. Speaking of being exposed to everyone, I love how it seems that this program fosters collaboration between different departments and between specifically different artists too. How do you as the manager help to create that atmosphere of collaboration or to make sure that everyone is being serviced?
Yeah, excellent question. And so specific to my job. Thank you so much. Yes, it is my favorite piece of the puzzle. Sometimes people ask me, like, what's my favorite part of the job? The selection process is also really excellent. It's very unique. I get to be super involved. But my favorite moment is usually in the studio, sitting around a conference table with all of the experts in their field that I've tried really hard to find to support the directors in specifically their vision, whether it be storytelling wise or visual wise or otherwise. I love bringing teams together that feel like they can accomplish the goal. And it's hard because each specialization within the studio is so specific to what they do. They have no idea that they have the potential to bring that to a broader audience. So we often try to even pluck people and find people that maybe weren't in leadership before that really know their stuff and pair them up with a Short Circuit director. And then they have such mutual appreciation for each other. So yes, the collaboration is insanely important. And I like to talk about from this past season, Jakob's short, I knew it was complex. There's so much going on in there. And it was a huge undertaking when it got selected. I'm like, how are we going to make this? What we did is we cleared out the big space in the studio and put all of his team temporarily relocated or gave them a second desk, really, to one place. And we were awesome. So lucky to have that resource. And I think that plays into the collaboration that you're talking about, where they were just talking to each other, constantly. They were right outside my office. So I got to peek at them and really enjoyed watching them go through their short together and kind of come out with those bonds.
That's wonderful. I really love that. It really just seems like the team at Disney has such friendly environment, or if you will, just collaborative. So it's great.
Yeah, or even just mutual respect.
Yes. Now, I know that this has been going on for several times, and specifically these last two times have been, we've gotten to see it. But what would you say you learned from one season to the next, if you will? Are there any lessons that you take from one round to bring into the next round?
A lot. I think a huge part of my job is mentorship for the new directors. Stepping into this role for the first time is a really big jump for them, coming from wherever they were in the studio doing one thing specifically, and then being plucked into a whole slew of people that are working on their vision is a huge leap. And I think I've learned so much from season to season, project to project, what helps them mentally get there. And I think the pre-production time that I was alluding to in the bigger group session is a huge part of that. And it was a big realization for myself, and pushing on the studio to say, we need to do a selection round because I want a runway up until when they start where I can get to know them better and walk them through pipeline processes and talk about what their vision is so I can get them the right team to help them. Because I think my goal is for them to really be able to enjoy it, and there's stressful moments no matter what, because it's your baby that you're doing. But that's been something that I've learned a lot of tips and tricks along the way to help them and mentor them as best as I can.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this round of shorts, and I cannot wait to see more, and more specifically from these directors.